Good morning and welcome to this weekly market update from MRC Markets. There's the 12th of May 2014. What we'll do today is go through some technical analysis on Eurodollar, Cable Dollar, Swiss, Aussie and Gold. Just to review what went on in the markets last week and give some sort of outlook for this week in terms of technical analysis. We'll have a look at the Forex calendar as well. For any new followers out there, we have 3 moving averages on each of these charts. The red one is a 50 simple moving average, the purple is 100 simple, and the gold is 200 simple. I will not make any trade calls or recommendations in this video. Trade at your own risk. If you could please read a full disclaimer on our website, which is www.mrcmarkets.com, that'll be appreciated. Okay, let's have a brief look at the Forex calendar. So what's going on this week in terms of sort of high impact data? So this is just on Forex Factory. So we'll look at the red coloured data, so the high impact data. So today, Monday, what we've already had overnight from Australia. This was 2:30 AM GMT. So the NAB Business Conference. That's the only high impact data of today. Tomorrow at 6:30 AM you've got Chinese industrial production numbers year on year. At 10 AM you've got the German ZEW economic sentiment. We've got from Australia you've got the annual budget release. 1:30 we've got retail sales at the US. So these are the month-on-month numbers and the core retail sales. Keep an eye on the retail sales there because the previous was revised from 1.1% to 1.2%, and at 10 PM we've got some New Zealand data. We've got the retail sales. So we've got the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Governor Wheeler speaking, and the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Financial Stability Report out as well. So if any of you trade the Kiwi, on Wednesday at 9:30 we've got some UK data. We've got the unemployment rate, we've got the claimant count number, so big piece of data there from the UK. At 10:30 the Bank of England Governor Mark Carney speaking. We've got the Bank of England inflation report out at a similar time. At 1:30 out of the US you've got the PPI month-on-month numbers, so it was forecasting 0.2% from the previous 0.5%. Thursday, more overnight data. So you've got more from New Zealand. So you've got the annual budget release, and then from Japan at 5:25 AM, you've got the Bank of Japan Governor Kuroda speaking. And then at 1:30 we have some Canadian. You've got the manufacturing sales, with the weekly jobless claims from the US, and the CPI data as well. Then you've got quite a bit of mid impact news there. At 3 PM to finish off Thursday, the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index as well, forecast at 13.9 there. And on Friday we have Fed Chair Yellen speaking. She likes to try and impact the markets there, so that will be quite interesting. Should definitely move the markets that. And at 1:30 the US building permits, and at 2:55 got preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment. So we've got a fair amount of data out this week, not as much as last week, but no, still quite a bit of interesting high impact data there, which should have a big influence on the currency markets and gold as well, which we'll have a look at in this video. Okay, and I mean I've got sort of blank charts in each of these. I've taken off any sort of levels from last week, just keep it nice and fresh. And you can see where I'm sort of drawing levels on and fibs, etc. Okay, let's have a brief look at this weekly Eurodollar chart then. Mainly last week's candle is very interesting. It's a bearish reversal pattern, a failure at highs here. And when we're talking about highs, I mean what we've been speaking about the last sort of few weeks has been this sort of fib move here. So from the low of the year to the high, uptrend retracement down to sort of 50%, 61.8% retracement zone, and we rotated high and we said keep an eye on what happened. I mean the odds were that favouring the test of this 0% line at the one spot 39.66s. We pierced through that. So then the interesting level to keep the focus on, I thought, was the one spot 40 handle. We didn't quite reach that, but pretty much did, to be honest. And we had a failure at these highs, and we reversed with a significant sell-off in the euro dollar pair. So that fib, I mean, it's still interesting. Still definitely keep this fib up on your chart because I mean, yes, it has formed a double top here, but we could easily get some sort of support here at the 50%, this sort of 61.8% support zone if we do get there this week. So definitely keep an eye out on that. But in terms of the weekly, that's the main sort of focus, really. I mean, you had got that fib there, but nothing major of interest. But what is interesting is on this monthly chart. And the reason we came down here was because of Draghi, so that's why I always recommend to keep an eye on the central bank. Central bankers, because they do have the ability to move the markets in just sort of one sort of sentence. And that was proven here. You can see if I flip to sort of daily chart, you can see bam, big spike above that, and then we really did reverse quickly. But yeah, what's interesting on this monthly chart? I don't often look at the monthly chart, but if you look at this fib here from the high of 2008 to the low of 2010, you can see we came up here and we've tested this 50% retracement, which does coincide with sort of 140 handle as well, and we're reversing there. So keep an eye out on the monthly end close this month. I'll remind you in a couple of weeks when we do come to the end. Well, what we'll do, because normally this video on a Friday, we're doing it on Monday today. Yeah, so I'll do it on the Friday and see how the candles, because if it's looking as it is now, that's a big reversal candle, and that can indicate, that can pretty much set the tone for the rest of the year here, and we could get a significant sort of sell-off over the next few months. And I mean, we could sort of, I don't know, perhaps see, and let's say it reverses like it is now, this current candle, we could easily see a sort of move down to sort of 130 over the next sort of few months, in terms of pure technical analysis on there. So there'll definitely be quite an interesting one to keep a focus on. But yeah, in terms of the shorter term stuff, so I mean on the daily chart, I mean the fib we have been speaking about is this one here, and yes, that's still in play. I mean, you have got a new high now. I'd definitely look at that high instead of that one. So yeah, keep an eye, and if we do, it looks like it, what I personally think will happen now for this week. Let's flip it to the shorter term chart. This is definitely a key fib I'm going to keep an eye out for, because it's a significant sell-off here, pure downtrend sell-off, and it looks like it's going to keep on retracing now for today and next couple of days maybe. And if so, this is the fib to keep an eye out for, because I think there's plenty of room towards the downside here. And if so, sellers I would have thought would be coming at this 50% level, which comes in at 1.3869. So in terms of outlook for this week, it's pretty simple. I think we're just going to get a brief retracement up and then test the 50% if we do get there, and then we'll keep on selling off, I'd have thought. I mean, because I'm only interested in sort of longs on here until we get to this sort of this fib level here. I think this next sort of key support is that sort of 50% retrace, or if we get below that, then of course you'll like the sort of the 137 handle there as well. But it definitely looks like it's going to retrace towards the upside, because we do have a big move towards the downside, and you can see we're currently getting supported at a 100-day moving average here as well. So yeah, it looks like we get a brief pop up and then a sell off at that fib, and that's the pure focus, to be honest, on the Eurodollar for me this week. Cable's been interesting. What I've been speaking about on this weekly chart is these sort of, because it has been in grind high mode, and I've personally been saying it's due some sort of retracement towards the downside. Odds favour a retracement, but of course it can just keep on grinding higher and higher, and that's what it has been doing. But looks like we had some sort of stall last week in cable, and the levels we've spoken about are the sort of the 169s and the 170s, and we didn't quite test the 170. I think we came a few pips shy of it, but you can see there pretty much, and if you're looking at this weekly chart, it looks like you can see it's pretty much got front run. I mean, I think if you go to if you flip it to the 4 hour, it's got front run by a few pips there. But yeah, you can see, I mean, if you look to the left of the chart, these 2009 highs, what we're speaking about, don't be surprised to see some sort of resistance happening here. And you can see we got a sort of pretty much a test at the 170s and a close below the 169 handle. And that's quite a significant reversal candle, that, in my opinion. Yes, it does have a bit of lower wick on it, but the sellers have definitely come in here and posed a lovely reversal candle. So odds for me this week, over the next few weeks, to be honest, well, it depends how this weekly if the weekly candle closes below 169s, odds are towards the downside in this weekly chart, I'd have thought, and then hopefully we can start talking about this fib over the next sort of few weeks. I mean, it's still a long way away from it, of course, but if we do get down there, that'd be a lovely fib move. I think I'd expect to get some really nice action at that 50% there, but of course we're still a long way away from that. But yeah, similar to Euro, what I'd expect this week is some sort of pop up here and then a sell off again to form another sort of upper wick on this candle. I mean, another level I would draw is this sort of 169.50s here, which comes in the middle of that. So then if you're looking at sort of fib in the move, so from the high, I've just flipped it to the 1 hour chart here. Actually, just keep on the 4 hour, a bit easier to see. So the 4 hour, I've done the wrong thing there. So on this 4 hour chart, if we're looking at fibs, I'll be looking at this one here from the high to that low there. And yeah, just, I mean, it doesn't massively coincide with one of the round numbers, but you can see one spot 69.14 is that 50% retracement there. And it does actually coincide with the previous bit of support there as well, you can see on that candle. So previous support could turn out to new resistance there. A little bit of confluence as well, but that's definitely a fib move I'll be keeping out this week, and that's sort of valid on the daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, and sort of 30-minute chart as well. You can see there's a nice obvious fib move, lovely downtrend. And hopefully it keeps on retracing towards the upside, and we get a nice sort of some nice candle action out of that 50% on this cable chart. So yeah, that's the main focus, to be honest. And yeah, let's say if we do get a significant sort of retracement this week, then this would be personally the fib move towards the upside that I'll be keeping an eye out for. Would be this sort of move here. So yeah, the 50% there comes at one spot 67.38. So of course we're still away at about 140 pips off that, but things can come down fast. So keep an eye on that. In terms of the other fib moves, I mean, I think what we're coming off of at the minute is this move here. Yeah, you can pretty much see that. I mean, I'm not a massive fan because it's not a really obvious swing low in my opinion. So I mean, yeah, you can be looking. A lot of people have been looking at that one there, but that obviously didn't play out. The reason I'm looking at that one is just you can see it just sort of lines up with that 50% there, and I suppose that's where we're coming off of. Also, previous support and previous resistance around there as well. But yeah, I'm personally, if we get a sell off this week, I'll definitely keep an eye on this move here. I think that's a nice sort of obvious one to look at. We should get some interesting action there. Noticeably, actually, got some previous support at the 61.8% retrace there. And that coincides at one spot 66.68. Also, in terms of round numbers, you've got a nice round number that coincides in between that level, and that is the 167 handle as well. Dollar Swiss on the weekly is starting to get interesting now. The two levels we've been speaking about for a while now on this weekly chart is the 87 handle. Is that as recent support there? You can see it's the key support for the year. And what happened last week, we came back down, we pretty much tested this 87 handle, and we have a lovely reversal candle here, similar to Euro. Reversal candles to the downside in the Euro, mirror image chart we've been speaking about for a while. Dollar Swiss, this is a textbook reversal candle here. So odds for me on this Dollar Swiss will be on this weekly chart is to come up and potentially test this 50 week moving average here, and that comes at 0.9071. Similar to Euro though, I mean, I've been speaking about this fib because we had some decent action here at the 50%. So if we do come up here again, which looks like it could happen this week, definitely if we get some sort of pop up, that 50% comes at 0.8927s, and that's just 27 pips above a nice round number there, which is the 0.89 handle as well. So keep an eye on that because that's previous support in 2013 as well. So yeah, I mean, in terms of this week and current sort of moves, I'm personally looking at some sort of retracement here because it's a lovely uptrend. If we do get a retrace, and this is the fib I'll be looking at here, this is sort of valid on the sort of the 4. You can see it clearly on the daily. The daily you can see we're getting capped at 100-day moving average here as well. And on the Eurodollar, we're getting supported at 100-day moving average. So another classic example of them doing the complete opposite sort of things. So yeah, this is a fib I'm looking at personally. I think a lovely uptrend here. If we get a nice retrace, then this 50% comes in at 0.8790s. That is, of course, if we have tops out here, of course, we can still break above and then retrace again. But you can see previous 4-hour candle, nice sort of bearish engulfing there. So this could be the start of the retracement that we get going into this week. But yeah, that's the view for dollar Swiss. Aussie, we're continuing to grind higher here. We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. That sort of I think it's a gravestone doji candle, nice sort of reversal pattern. And last week you can see we had a nice sort of just a sort of standard bullish candle. We do have a bit of upper wick on it, but it looks like it wants to keep on grinding higher towards this potentially 100-week moving average here. And then the other thing we're speaking about is this fib here as well. So that 100-week comes in just below the 61.8% retrace here. And yeah, the other thing we're speaking about was in the last week's video, I remember, was this key level here. So we've got the 0.94 handle. In terms of this week, that's definitely a key marker to keep an eye out for in terms of any sort of price action here on the Aussie. And that's pretty much it in terms of the Aussie, really. Nothing major that I really see there that's really sort of jumping out at me here. I mean, you got this, I think it's a fib move to the downside. I think that might be a 78.6 actually, but no, there's nothing major of interest on this Aussie, to be honest with you. Looks like it just wants to keep on grinding higher. So if you're sort of aggressive sort of bull on this pair, then let's say if we get any sort of retrace, then that's the sort of low that you could use for sort of buying any sort of dips on the Aussie. But it looks like it's just going to keep on chopping around and sort of grinding higher in the process here. Gold, same move that we've been speaking about for the last sort of few weeks now. This is the fib move here. It's hanging around this sort of 50%, but it has been playing the round numbers quite nicely actually. The 1280s 1280s key support we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, and that played out nicely last week as well. So you can see that there, really nice action. Friday's candle came down, tested it, and held above again. So multiple tests of that 1280s, and we're currently just holding above this 50%. So interesting stuff. I mean, you can see it on the 4 hour as well. I've just flipped it down. You can see lovely spikes here and holds above. So that's definitely the key sort of line in the sand for gold this week. But I still think this move will play out. But well, I suppose it is struggling. I mean, you can see last week's weekly candle, because we spoke about this weekly candle here, which I'm hovering over the cursor. You thought that would be the sort of catalyst to sort of pop higher, and we had that one there as well. We did pop higher and then came back below. But you can see the 50-week moving average is really capping gold at the minute. So if we're going to get any sort of quick momentum towards the upside, then we need a close above the 50-week moving average as soon as possible, really, to get any sort of the quick momentum up. So yeah, this week would be interesting. I mean, last week is quite interesting. We did get that weekly close below the 50% retrace, but I suppose the 50% hasn't been acting that technically in terms of support. It's been more the 1280 in terms of key support there, because it looks, if I just take that fib off, you can see that's just a key line in the sand there. Really, really technical stuff. Another thing I'd keep an eye out for personally is this sort of trendline resistance here as well. And then again, you've got the trendline support. So we're in this sort of wedge pattern here. No daily closes above or below that wedge, so keep an eye on that. I mean, it's getting closer and closer, and normally when it squeezes, it pops either side. I'd personally think it'll pop towards the upside. So if you do get some weak US data here this week, then expect to break that wedge. But now I'll leave this on the chart this week, and we'll come back to it next week and see where we're at. I'd expect it will have a break either side for next week's video. Okay then, that's all for today. Hope you found that video useful. If there's any other pairs that you want me to take a look at next week, then feel free to comment under the YouTube video or send us a tweet to our Twitter feed, which is at MRC_markets. Hope you have a great week trading, and I'll catch you maybe on Friday or Monday Thanks for watching.